Welcome to the world of worm composting. We will first begin with a brief introduction of the parts provided. This is the M board, this is the liquid collection tray, and this is the lid. This is the coconut coir and 2 pieces of drain cloths, the tap, and the user's manual. These are the 4 pieces of nuts and bolts, the pedestal base, the holding tray, and these are the working trays. Accessories provided include the tong, which you can split into 2 pieces, one to scoop and the other to claw. We also provide an additional claw and silicone scraper. Now it's time to set up your worm factory. First, place the pedestal base on the ground and then align the holding tray on top of the pedestal base. These 4 pairs of nuts and bolts are provided to attach them together. There should be 1 pair for each corner. Each bolt should be placed 3 to 4 squares diagonally from the corners of the tray. Then, screw on the nuts and tighten them with your hands as shown. Repeat this process in each corner of the tray to secure the pedestal base and the holding tray. It should look like this when you're done. Next, place the liquid collection tray on top of the holding tray and align the tap holes. Now, you will need the tap and washers provided. First, you will need to insert one of the clear plastic washers on the tap. Then, insert the tap through the liquid collection tray and holding tray. Insert the other washer on the tap from the inside. You will need to secure this by inserting and hand tightening the plastic nut. Next, place the M board on top of the liquid collection tray. Place the first working tray on top of the M board. You may set aside the remaining working trays for future use. Now it is time for the worm bed preparation. Using a bucket or large bowl, soak the coconut coir in 1 gallon of water until it breaks apart. In 10 minutes, you should see the coconut coir transform into moist bedding material. Before you transfer the coconut coir into the working tray, place a couple sheets of dry newspaper into the bottom of the tray. Then, transfer the moist coconut fiber from the bucket to the tray. Mix the soaked coconut fiber with some shredded paper, a few handfuls of soil, and other garden compost. Now you will have the perfect worm bed waiting for the worm's arrival. It is now time to add worms into your system. When your worms arrive, place them on the surface of the worm bed and then cover them with a piece of damp newspaper. The worms will quickly disappear under the worm bed. Feeding the worms. Food scraps should be placed beneath the worm bedding at the corners of the tray. Consider using the scraper to dig holes for the food scraps. Place 1 handful of food scraps at one corner of the worm bedding and mix them with the worm bedding, leaving most of the tray open to allow airflow. We strongly recommend cutting the food into small pieces for easy digestion. The food scraps should be less than 1 inch deep. Cover the food and worm bedding with a sheet of damp newspaper. You may use the silicone scraper to clean the edge of the tray. Adding trays to the Vermifactory. When the first working tray is 2/3 of the way full, it is time to add a second working tray. Spread a handful of foods on the bottom of the second working tray. Then, cover the foods with some compost from the last tray, including decayed leaves or grasses. We would suggest covering the foods with at least 1 inch of compost or decayed leaves. If it is too dry, spray some water on the bedding. Then, cover your tray with a couple sheets of moist newspaper. Now put the lid on. You are now done adding your second tray. Harvesting. To harvest the worm juice, place a cup at the bottom of the tap and lift the lever on the tap to collect the worm juice. You can use this worm juice to water plants around your garden, including flowers and vegetables. You can also harvest the worm castings. You can use the worm castings to fertilize shrubs and trees in your garden. For more details, refer to the user's manual. Tips for managing your worm factory. We recommend adding foods such as vegetables, fruit peels of low acidity, eggshells, shredded paper, cardboard, grains, starches, decayed leaves and grasses, sawdust, and even hair. Foods that should be excluded from your worm factory include citrus fruits, plant seeds, cooking oil, meat, fish, poultry, dairy products, and salad dressings. We should dump these in the garbage. Secondly, food preparation. There are a few ways to speed up the process of worm composting. We can freeze the foods, we can chop the foods into smaller pieces, or we can microwave the foods. Moisture level is important to worms. We can use a moisture meter to test the bedding moisture level. If it is too dry, spray some water on your worm bin. If it is too wet, add some shredded paper to absorb the moisture. Temperature is also important to worms. We can use a temperature gauge to test the bedding temperature. If it is too warm, you can move the bin to a shaded area or add some ice cubes to cool it down. If it is too cold, we suggest moving the bin to a warmer area such as your garage. Thank you and good luck with the Vermifactory.